again. We're on week 7. This is a great week. We are going to continue in the book of Acts, and we're going to pick up where Paul writes the book of 2 Corinthians and the book of Romans. And these books are, they are just fantastic. There is so much depth of theology, especially in Romans, and so much rich truth in 2 Corinthians. I love these books. We're going to talk about something called the Roman triumph, and you'll read about that. I never had actually heard about this before, the Roman triumph, but it's really interesting. I think you'll like that. On day 3, we're going to cover a little on spiritual warfare, and we'll get into a little bit of Ephesians in that, Ephesians 6, but not a lot. On day 4 of this week, we are going to start looking into the book of Romans. And this is such a good book. There's a quote from Socrates that I have in there, and it says, "It may be that God can forgive, that deity can forgive sins, but I do not see how." Socrates said that. And he was really onto something, because he understood that a holy God cannot tolerate sin. So he said, it may be he can forgive, but I don't see how. And the book of Romans tells us how. How can a holy God actually forgive us? It's fascinating, deep, and beautiful. We're going to be talking about grace and sanctification again. And then Romans has 3 chapters that talk about Israel. And this is a really important thing we're going to look at. The God of Israel and the Israel of God. That some in the church believe that Israel has been replaced with the church. It's called replacement theology. This is not true. It's very bad theology. I believe this 100%, that Israel has not been replaced. Israel is still the apple of God's eye. Israel is the time clock for the whole world winding down. It's tick, tick, ticking. You look at Israel and you see what God's doing. So Romans 8, 9, and 10, or 9, 10, and 11, talk about Israel. So we're going to spend some time looking at that. Let's see here. I am on week 6 in my book, and I'm going over to week 7. So we're going to talk about, how important Israel is to God's heart. And I like how this is going through and just giving you little pieces of this and little pieces of that. I know I've said this 100 times, but the most frustrating thing about putting this whole thing together is the time crunch, because you can't go deep on things. But I'm praying that this whets your appetite to go deeper on your own, because the truths found in these books are just fantastic. They're life-giving. They're life-altering. They make you fall in love with God so much more. So as you're reading through these, and looking at these scriptures and the things that I've chosen to highlight for this, God's going to speak to you. He's going to show you more things, and it's going to be really good. And as we always end on day 7, I've left some space for you to write down some things that maybe God showed you this week that you haven't seen before. And I have at the end of day 7, I wrote, "As we age, we may regret not having spent more time with him through his word that he wrote for us. You may regret towards the end of your life. You could regret spending hours and hours watching TV. I don't know. You could regret doing different things. But one thing I know for a fact, you will never, ever regret having spent time in his word. You won't get to the end of your life and say, darn, I could have watched more TV if I haven't spent so much time in his word. You're never going to say that. Nobody ever said that. So what you are doing going through this Bible immersion is life for your soul, and it's changing you. And I'm so proud of you and so blessed that you're doing this. So God bless you as you go through this. And Lord, I just bless each one again with more of you, with an opening up of their spirit to your word. In your beautiful name, Jesus. Amen.